I wanted to thank Dr. Davis and everyone for allowing me to be here. For sure, I'm always going to be here to support you. But what's really kind of cool too is that just a couple weeks ago, we were at another event. And these events, they just get bigger, they get more, right? And you probably saw on Facebook that there was an event that had like 1,200 people there, right? We're actually 1,400. Yeah. I think it's like network marketing numbers. I think there was 22,000. Yeah. Right. But Steve and Michelle just as energetically came down for this as for that and for any events, right? And I think that's what's really cool when Steve was talking about being part of a public company and really having a family, is that everyone is so special to us, right? Because just a few years ago, as Dr. Gold, I'm sure will attest to, is that, that event, that Saturday, 3 years ago was 86 people, okay, right? And now that event, 3 years now is almost 22,000. No, several thousand. And that's how it's going to happen as well, right? As long as we all stay committed, we all stay excited, and we all stay passionate, right? And so, so one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about today is that, I don't really even think I need this, but I tend to have my mother's voice, which is very loud. Okay, right? Sweet but loud, okay, right? And stern. And so one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about that Dr. Davis was saying was how Youngevity Youngevity and Youngevity's philosophy really relates to athletes as well, and weekend warriors and things like that. And I think that is a powerful way to talk about Youngevity. Just last year, I was actually at Torrey Pines, and I was speaking at the American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons, and I was speaking on nutrition there, and I was speaking on kind of performance health and things, and it was my second year speaking there, and what's kind of interesting is when they opened it up for questions, I got the same question that I got the year before, which I was like, dude, are you guys listening? Like, seriously? I don't have time to repeat myself. You will throw me a party with balloons, and I will repeat myself over and over again. And so they asked me, they're like, what's the difference in nutrition from a young athlete to an older athlete, right? And the real answer there is that the older athlete has to cheat less. And it really is. We always think that there's something special with a certain demographic, whether it's young or old, whether it's sick or well. And really, if you take a look at this, what it's all about is all doing the right things, but some have to do those right things more intensely. Many of you have heard me speak before, and I kind of talk about the two things to wellness. There's only two variables to wellness. The first one is intensity, and the second one is time. Whatever you're doing, based on your goal that you have and the time that you want to be able to achieve that goal is going to determine, or that will be determined by how intense that you will have to be. So let me give you an example, right? One of the things that just always keeps coming up is weight loss, okay, right? And fat loss, if you will, right? We don't like to talk about weight, right? We like to talk about fat because at the very end of the day, weight is made up of so many different wonderful things, okay, right? I don't want you to lose bone density, and that's weight. I don't want you to lose muscle, and that's weight. I don't want you to lose a certain amount of water because that can be negative, and that's weight, right? And so fat is that evil culprit, if you will. And so when we talk about weight loss, we talk about fat loss. And so everybody's always like, okay, listen, I have your nutritional plan that's on healthybodychallenge.com, or I understand what Dr. Wallach wants me to do, the 10 good and bad food list. There's a new new perspective, not philosophy, a new perspective on fat loss, which will be coming out fully in September, that you've heard a little bit about, which is the whole ketogenic and ketosis philosophy of health, right? Perspective of health. And they say, hey, I'm going to do this, and how long is it going to take for me to lose my fat or my weight, I'm like, I don't know. How long is it going to take you? Like, is this like a knock-knock joke? You know what I mean? I don't know, you know, right? And so, and they're like, well, you know, and I guess the only way for me to kind of help you, 50%, because there's the other 50% that are kind of your history of health that I don't have anything to do with. There are genetic components that I don't have anything to do with, but there's about 50% that's based on things like, well, so how much are you going to do this every day? You know, how well are you going to follow this? You know, how intense are you going to follow this? Are you going to eat the 2 cups of dry vegetables for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or are you going to just do it for lunch and dinner? I had an email the other day from someone, and they said, you know, I read Sanjeev's plan, and he says, you know, to eat vegetables, you know, for the morning and lunch and dinner, and I just don't know. I just can't get my arms around eating the vegetables at breakfast, you know, right? And so what tip do you have for me? Again, like, is this a knock-knock joke? Like, I don't know. Is it hard to embrace yourself? Like, how big are you? And then you can decide how well you can embrace the fact that I'm telling you to eat vegetables in the morning, which is just so, like, diabolically, like, impossible for you to do, right? And so it's those types of things that you have to say to yourself is, what am I willing to do? Just like Delisha said, at the very end of the day, if you want to have some of the things that she has achieved, you have to put in the time, you have to put in the energy, you have to put in the struggle, and that's really kind of what separates all of us, right? At the very end of the day, I have a swim coach, and I was there, and the guy came out of the pool. I was telling Dr. Gold about this, and he's just as fit as I am, and we swim about the same pace, but he seems to come in at the top 10 of events, and I don't come in at the top 10. I'll tell you exactly where I come in, but it's not at the top 10. And I kind of said to Frank, I said, Frank, gosh, I just don't understand what the difference is between Ben and I. And he said, well, Jeevers, I'll tell you what, Ben knows how to suffer and you don't. Oh. Right? And at first it was funny, but then you kind of think about it, and he's very powerful statement. Like, at some point through this, you are going to have to suffer.
Yes.
It is a suffering. Nobody likes eating a bunch of dried vegetables. I know I hear that all the time. Oh, you know, I think you should eat more vegetables. Oh, I love eating vegetables. I don't have any problem eating vegetables. Oh, I love broccoli. Listen, I can see that you don't love it as much as what you're telling me. It's okay. You don't have to, like, lie to me. I'm okay. Like, I'll be on a plane in about 2 hours, and you won't have to see me. You know, you won't have to see me at night. You won't have to see me. So you don't have to lie to me. All you have to tell me is that, listen, this is who I am, right? This is my being, right? And based on what you tell me, then I'm able to help you. But most importantly, you're able to help yourself.
Amen.
Right? Like,
Amen.
that's the first thing in any of these journeys, whether they be the wellness journey, whether they be the opportunity journey, whether they be the development journey, is you have to understand where you are at right now.
Right.
And being where you're at right now is being real with yourself and being authentic with yourself and being okay with yourself. Because at the very end of the day, here's the thing. I am okay with you taking a journey. Wherever you start, I'm okay with you making a stand for yourself and saying, listen, I am going to live a better life today than I did the day before. What I'm not okay with you is that, number one, you don't attempt a journey because you feel like you can't achieve a final goal, right?
Yeah.
Or secondly, and most importantly, and this is the biggest thing, is that you're not real with yourself about where you're at right now in the journey, right? You're not real with yourself to say, listen, this is what my skills are. Okay, right? This is what I'm willing to do. This is what I'm not willing to do. You know, it's interesting. You know, people have a very, Michelle and I do a lot of this work when we're doing marketing research, right? And we're doing a lot of feedback groups and things like that. And what we've learned is that many people have a difficulty in telling you what they like, but they don't have as much difficulty in telling you what they don't like.
True.
Right? People are super passionate about saying, no, I don't like blue, I don't want a guy with brown hair, I don't want this, I don't, they all say that, and you're like, oh, so what do you like? Well, I don't know, I mean, I like a lot of things, you know. Well, sometimes it may be, hey, it's not what are you willing to do, what are you not going to be able to do right now, you know, right? And so anyways, the whole point of this, which got totally like on a tangent, because that's not what I'm okay, right? And so, getting back to what I was here to talk to you about is the fact that in regards to nutrition, okay, right? And in regards to Youngevity's philosophy. I have been with Youngevity. Somebody asked me just today how long I've been with Youngevity, you know? I was like, gosh, I think I've been here for about 4 years, but I think it's actually longer than that, you know, yes. Right? And, right? No gold watch, but anyways, and so, usually I would know because, okay, there'll be a party, or I can watch This is my party, this is my party. Yeah. 20 years I'll have a party, that's a great point. Okay, awesome, I'll be here, okay, right? And so the thing about this is that the reason why I am so passionate about the Youngevity philosophy of health is because of the fact that it's so simple, right? And I feel that brilliance comes from simplicity, okay, right? Brilliance truly comes from simplicity. And to feel that no matter who you're talking to, whether you're talking to a nutritional enthusiast, whether you're talking to a physician or a medical kind of practitioner, or whether you're talking to somebody that's kind of new and not understanding about the nutraceutical world, you know, right? It's very difficult for me to find somebody that doesn't understand the value of food, okay? And this is how I talk about Youngevity. I don't necessarily at the beginning talk about the 90 for life philosophy. I don't necessarily talk about Dr. Wallach and his 50 years of research, or Dr. Malan's work with some of the publications and some of the research that Dr. Wallach and Dr. Malan have done. And the reason for that is because that's not what it really is all about to me. What it is all about to me is that if you do believe that food is the most powerful tool that you have to be able to deal with the traumas that will be faced for your body, then this is a great place for you to find something. Because that's all we believe. We don't believe that you will be able to shield yourself from trauma. I think it's quite silly to think that at the very end of the day that you will not be exposed to a certain amount of pollutants or toxins or pathogens. I understand the value of organic and non-organic and GMO and not GMO, but it's difficult to think that I'm going to be able to avoid all of those things all the time. But see, here's one thing that I can do. Knowing that I will be always susceptible for that, the thing that I can do is be in control of myself. And being in control of myself is building the absolute body so I don't have to worry about a pathogen. I don't have to worry about a bacteria. I don't have to worry about an organic or pesticide or insecticide. I mean, think about it. I think to myself that, listen, at the very end of the day, I mean, I believe in evolution. I believe in the fact that I am the strongest system and person that I possibly can be, and therefore that's why I am here today, right? And I think to myself, for thousands of years that I have been fighting bacteria, I have been fighting starvation, I have been fighting all of these traumas that the body has faced, and therefore my body has adapted to be able to deal with those things. So then why can't I deal with them today? Have they become stronger? I don't believe that. I believe that I become weaker. And the reason that I become weaker is because I'm not putting the right fuel into my body. the right elements that cause it to function properly, right? And the only thing that I can think of, or the only thing that I've researched and what I see, is that nutrition is that only fuel. It doesn't seem to run on solar power. It doesn't seem to run on biodiesel. It doesn't seem to run on batteries. It doesn't seem to run on any of those things. So I think to myself, well, listen, it looks like from the current research that nutrition is the only thing that my body actually runs on. So then, right? Thank you. Finally a clap. I've said some amazing things. And so, yeah, thank you, and so here's what I'm thinking to myself is that, all right, so how can I put in better nutrition into my body, right? How can I put in the best nutrition into my body? Well, here's the thing, is that it's difficult for me to do it through the foods that I eat. It's difficult for the fact that sometimes I don't get all the right nutrition at the right time. Sometimes I don't have access to all the right nutrition at the right time. Sometimes the fact is that sometimes when I do go get that nutrition, I don't control some of the factors that would allow me to have the quality of nutrition at the right time. I don't know it's because I'm very active and I do a lot of things that I'm going to be able to actually consume that much nutrition. And so therefore it leads me to the next best thing. It's not the best thing, it's the next best thing. And the next best thing is to put something into my body that follows that food philosophy. This is why Youngevity's product philosophy, concept philosophy, the core of what we actually do is so powerful. What do we believe in? We believe in the 90 essential nutrients, yes. But really, what is the 90 essential nutrients? It's those nutrients that are found in food. They're vitamins, they're minerals, they're essential fatty acids, they're amino acids. What are these things? These are the micronutrients and the micronutrients that are found in other macronutrients. That's all that it is. So now when I'm able to communicate to somebody about the power of Youngevity, it's easy for me to say, listen, do you believe that food is the most important thing that you can put into your body to be able to deal with the traumas that you're facing? Whether it's a trauma that you're dealing with right now, meaning some sort of health concern, or maybe some impending issue that you may feel that you're going to have, well then, why don't we get more nutrition into your body, right? Well, you know this. What are the things that are keeping you from actually doing those things? And they're probably going to tell you some of the things that I told you. Well, it's hard to get it. I can't eat enough. I can't. Well, that's why, listen, I decided to be able to use something that would give me those nutrients. So I chose a company whose philosophy is that. And that philosophy is to give you these nutrients, and then what they've done is they've put it in the most efficient way, in the high quality way, in the convenient way for you to get them. And see, this is why, even though, and I was thinking about this last night, we all do this with food as well too, is that unfortunately we've been kind of trained in this whole kind of medical way, right? In this kind of a way in which if we have a cold, we go get cold medicine. If we go have a headache, we go get headache medicine. If we have a rash, we go get a rash medicine. We go get something based on the symptom that we have. And I know I can go through the whole fact of the reason why they're probably doing that is just to keep me kind of sick and all that sort of stuff. And I get that. But let's kind of take a look at it a different way, right? The different way is the fact that when you go do those sort of things, you will relieve that particular issue, right? But do remember, something must be causing that particular issue. Like, I don't believe that the head just aches. It just decides, hey, listen, I think I'm going to ache. Okay, right? I don't believe that the skin, the largest organ of the body, decides, you know what, in this area, I'm just going to create an allergic response, and so you itch. Something happens deeply inside your body. This is the exact reason why Chinese traditional philosophy and Ayurvedic philosophy and these Eastern medical techniques talk about hot and cold and misalignment, you know, and qi and things. Why is that? Because it's all about alignment. It's all about trying to figure out the root of the issue. This is why the healthy body packs are so incredibly powerful. This is why when people ask me, gosh, Stevers, you know, we have 1,200 products, or actually more, as Steve was mentioning the other day. I just don't know what products to get someone on at the very beginning. I don't get what you're saying. And the reason why I don't get what you're saying is because to me, we only have 8 products. For the first 90 days, you should only be focused on 8 products. And the coolest thing about those 8 products is you can't go wrong. You can't pick a wrong product. I don't care if all of a sudden you said, gosh, my joints kind of hurt, and you accidentally gave them the digestive pack. Or that, oh gosh, my digestive system isn't very good, and you gave them the weight loss pack or the fat loss pack. Or that they said, I actually had the weight issue, and you actually gave them the anti-aging pack. The reason why it doesn't really matter is, number one, it's the first 90 days. They probably weren't doing anything before anyways. And then the very core of each and every one of those packs is what? The 90 for Life philosophy, right? And remember what the 90 for Life philosophy was, okay? How many of you have read Dead Doctors Don't Lie? And it's okay, remember, I'm going to be gone in 2 hours. You don't need to lie to me. How many of you have read Dead Doctors Don't Lie? Okay, that's okay, no worries at all, okay, right? And so one of the things that was very powerful when I read Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and the reason why I think it's such a great read is because you understand 2 things. You understand really not just Dr. Wallach's history, okay, right? And Dr. Malan's history. If you're really reading it carefully, what you're really understanding is the history of 90 for Life. Like, how did this actually become so powerful? How did it actually come to fruition? How did it actually, get created, if you will, okay, right? And sometimes understanding more of the why than the what is very powerful, because the why is what makes you powerful, right? The why is what creates emotion, and emotion creates energy, and energy is what's transmitted, right? And so that's the first thing. But the second thing you'll understand is a few little details that allow you to understand the power of the solution of the 90 essential nutrients. And understanding that at the very end of the day, we are in a deficiency disease state. No matter where you are, your health issues are because you are deficient. And with Dr. Wallach and Dr. Malan's words through 50 years is to understanding that each of these nutrients, each of these 90 essential nutrients, they carry 10 different health concerns. Now this, by the way, isn't just Dr. Wallach and Dr. Malan's philosophy. Do remember, the World Health Organization, the American Medical Association, UNICEF has decided what? That there are essential nutrients and non-essential nutrients. If you understand what the definition of essential and non-essential nutrients are, is essential nutrients are those nutrients that are defined that if someone had adequate amounts of them, that it would lead to a disease or illness. And it's clearly chronicled what are the diseases that are caused by the deficiencies of those 40 essential nutrients. Now you may ask, well, why is it 40 yet we have 90? One of the things that they didn't consider that we believe in, that Dr. Wallach, Dr. Malan believes in, is you must put certain nutrients in their natural matrix. That you do not want to take them and isolate them. And the number one set of nutrients that you do not want to isolate is the trace and ultra trace minerals. If there is one thing you do not want to take out of its natural state, because it truly works synergistically with each other, is these minerals. And therefore we use the plant-derived minerals. Therefore we use the trace and ultra trace mineral blend. And that blend is literally just the exact blend, the exact composition that is taken naturally from nature, okay, right? And that's what makes up what? The other set of nutrients, the other 50 nutrients, okay, right? And so anyways, going back to what I was actually trying to say, is that these nutrients, when you attach them to all these different types of health concerns, now all of a sudden when you have 90 essential nutrients, you're having a solution for what? Almost 900 different types of health concerns. Now, if you're from the medical community, you'll understand that she knows more than anyone is that really how a disease or illness is named, it's through its set of symptoms. Okay, right? And if there's a different symptom that is in a group of symptoms that have already been determined by another name of a disease, then it just gets another name. Okay, right? That's how a new name is created. This is why neurological diseases, whether it is Parkinson's or supranuclear palsy or MS, they're all neurological diseases and illnesses, yet they have different set of symptoms. Because they have different set of symptoms, they needed a different name. But at the very core is what? A neurological deficiency, a neurological issue. If you're able to help to create health within the nervous system and health within the brain, you essentially are what? Dealing with neurological issues. And now you will be able to relieve all of these different types of health concerns that are named for the neurological issue, right? So when you start thinking about this, then you start understanding the power of those 90 essential nutrients. That's why you can understand why they are in each of the healthy body packs. This is why you can understand that you can't choose a wrong healthy body pack. Because at the very end of the day, really, if we could, and if you guys could probably understand this, and it's okay if you couldn't, is that we would only have one system. And it would be one pack. And you would take it all, but just like Delisha said, unfortunately there was a dude way back in the 1800s that kind of ruined it for all of us because he was selling that snake oil. Right. He was telling people out of the wagon. It's funny, I think actually Delisha thought that Dr. Wallach was selling things out of a wagon, but which he very well maybe, I don't know. But the whole point is that at the very end of the day, you really had the ability to say, listen, if you just give your body the foundational, fundamental nutrition every day, and you're able to do that consistently, because you must remember this. The one thing about nutrition that's different than some of these other treatments that are non-traditional, traditional, if you will, right? The traditional, we all think is the nutritional, right? And so, but is that they work on compounding effects, right? Nutrition works compounding, okay, right? This is the bummer about nutrition. Okay, right? Is that number one, it takes time, and number two, it works on a compounding effect. And so you got to struggle to be able to get to the benefit of what you're doing. You have to suffer to get through the benefit of what you're doing. And this is unfortunate because most people, when they take something, they want to feel the same effects as they did when they took that medication or that synthetic or chemical or non-natural way. And hey, listen, I'm not telling you that medicine doesn't work in the sense that it's going to give you the result that you want at that time. The unfortunate thing is that because you chose to use kind of a heat-sinking missile, right, missile, it's going to create a lot of shrapnel. And when it creates a lot of shrapnel, you get a whole lot of other issues. And then you got another problem that you totally forgot about, was that wasn't really your issue anyways. It wasn't really the headache, right? It wasn't really the lack of blood flow. It wasn't the fact that you had poor vision. It was something that was deep within it. It was the fact that you did have inflammation in the neurological system that then caused the migraine. It was really unfortunate that you had sugar in the bloodstream and the inability to, the mechanism to get that sugar out of the bloodstream. Therefore, you have now hardened arteries, and so therefore you have high blood pressure. I mean, these are all of the roots of what you're dealing with. And so this is why the Youngevity philosophy is so powerful, is that if you give it the time, and if you give it the faith, because with time you gotta have faith, right? And if you do understand, and this is the hard part, is that you gotta ask someone, is that do you believe that nutrition is your most powerful method or weapon? Do you believe, I ask people 3 questions, right? Is that number 1, do you feel that nutrition is the most powerful weapon that you have for your health concern? Secondly, is that do you want to give yourself the time for that to happen? And then number 3, will you understand that there is going to be some suffering? Okay, right? That there is going to be some challenge, that there is going to be some things that you are going to have to deal with in which you may lose faith. And if you're willing to do those 3 things, then let's have a conversation. If you're going to say no to any one of these things, I'll just wait until the pain's bad enough and then you come and talk to me. Okay, right?